Well, finally, we have a very different type of a question, and a question that has never ever been asked in a sense. That's largely because we are talking about the evolution of the origin and evolution of the continents and the ocean basins. This is a topic that was inserted in 1983, and can you imagine? There is 1983, 1993, 2003, and now in 2021, it has been asked in a form, and of course, in a different type of a form. But then the consolation in this case is that you have to write an essay on the evolution of continents and oceans using various theories and models. Now, the word in this case is understand this question. We are talking about first is that it's an essay. That means it's a very short essay, of course, 200, 150 words or 250 words. There can hardly be an essay, but it's an essay, that means essay-like. The topic is, how is it that the continents evolve? How is it that the continents and ocean basins also evolve? And how is it that explained with the help of various theories and models? So, understand this question. This is one of those questions that has never been asked. The scope of this question, therefore, is that since after its insertion and incorporation into the syllabus, it has never ever been asked. It is going to be actually very, very, very mark-fetching. That is the scope of the topic here. Largely because only few people will be able to approach this type of a topic here. The approach has to be very, very scientific. This is going to be a real scientific topic here, and it's a scholarly disposition of how exactly one can go to present it here. The basic problems that is faced by the students in this case is the students are likely to mistake and make it very, very general, where the question is going to be asking you to be very specific, very compact, with the use of a scientific language and terminologies. You can go to make it very, very general. Of course, there is no reason for it to be making it general. You can go to make it general for some specific reasons in this case. So one of them is the mistake is understanding the nature of the question. What exactly is it that the question asks? Now, to begin with, we're going to talk about what exactly the question asks. The question is a specific essay on the evolution of continents and oceans. Now, remember, it's not ocean basins. That means it is talking about both ocean basins as well as oceans, both of them. Continents means that is how is it that the continents ultimately evolved, and it is about evolution. That means phase by phase evolution of it. So that's the nature of the question. Oceans means ocean basins as well as ocean waters, both of them. That is going to be one of them, and this is what we are talking about. To begin with it, that is what this topic is going to be about. First thing first, that is how is it that the crusts originate and how is it that they're going to evolve. There are going to be three models associated with it. But before we go on to be talking about it, we are going to be differentiating between origin and evolution. That will go on to be one line that you will have to use for the purpose of differentiating between origin and evolution. And that origin and evolution is, origin is how is it that it evolved out of nothing. Evolution is a phase-wise development in this case. The topic is about evolution, but without origin, there cannot be any evolution in this case at all. So we are forced to discuss about origin as well as evolution, both of them. This is one of those topics that is present only in two sources, only in two places in the whole of the world. There is one of these books is going to be by Kent C. Conde, Plate Tectonics and Crustal Evolution. That's one of these books. And the second is, of course, a book written by me in this case. These are the only two places where the topic has been presented in any form. And there are going to be three models associated with it. These three models represent the origin and evolution of these continents. The first is going to be inhomogeneous Earth accretion model. If you can go to pick it up, you're going to understand it. Inhomogeneous Earth accretion model is going to be talking about a proto-sun. This was a sun, and that was surrounded by various types of condensates. These are the condensates. High temperature, of course, around sun, there will be only high temperature condensates, intermediate temperature condensates, and low temperature condensates. Condensates means those which can go to condense. One that can go to condense at high temperature, another that can go to condense at a low temperature. So around this protosurnate, they started condensing, and the result of this condensation was first the formation of a nuclei, then around it another layer, then around it another layer, then around it another layer, and then around it another layer. And layer by layer, around the nuclei, it started building up the whole of the Earth, leading to formation of the first continental crustal nuclei. The problem in this case is, if the Earth's crust and if the Earth's continents evolved in this manner, then all of those heavier elements like rare earth elements should have been concentrated in the core, not in the crust, which they are. They are concentrated in the crust, not in the core. That is going to be one part associated with it. The second is another of the model that is going to be called by the name of catastrophic model. Catastrophic model stipulates and assumes that all the way from the beginning there had been many catastrophes taking place on the Earth. And this catastrophe is going to be about meteoritic impact. So a meteoritic impact took place. At that point of time, the crust was not evolved, the continents were not evolved. What was going to be existing was the mantle. And this was the mantle surface. This was the mantle surface. So there was an impact that took place. The result of this impact was there was a hole that was created. There was a crater that was created. A crater is created because of meteoritic impact, because when the meteorites impact it, they raise the temperature by something like some 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 degrees centigrade. And the ultimate result is that the whole of these rocks instantly going to get them to vaporize rather than first melting itself into it. As the melting takes place, of course, the word is partial melting, and mind it, in this case, the quality of the diagrams must be very, very, very good. Because if there is any amount of a mistake in the making of the diagram, you will go to lose your marks like nothing else. Diagram making is good, but only if the diagrams are correct. Not exactly that they are going to be incorrect. That will go on to melt. Molten portions will go on to have their temperature raised, volume will increase. Consequently, they will go to rise in the crater. The crater has formed because of an impact. Impact has led to vaporization of the rocks, and that it has led to creation of a deep hole. Beneath it is melting, and all of these portions that go on to rise, in the process of rising, they go on to cool, solidify, and as they solidify, that goes on to lead to the formation of the first continental nuclei. This is how the first continents evolve, and these portions have been dominated by, on the top of the surface, that is going to be by granite, and then below is going to be basalt. Why granite on the top? Because of magmatic differentiation. Imagine, these words are going to be very, very significant because the examiner will be looking for it. It will be like, if I can go to say it empirically, a meteoritic impact leads to formation of a crater which ruptures the rocks beneath. Because of the low pressure, partial melting takes place, and the partially molten magma rises and gets itself differentiated into granite. The first layers that go to form are of basalt, and then over the top is going to be granite, which goes on to form the first crustal blocks in this case. That is catastrophic model. The third is what we're going to be calling it as a non-catastrophic model. Now the non-catastrophic model happen to be very, very different, and as we can go to say and pick it up, a non-catastrophic model is going to be about plate tectonics. Plate tectonics explains it in many ways. First is, what it does is, it says that there was already, the whole of this earth was in a molten form. That is, the entire of this earth was in a molten form. There was nothing called as a continent or ocean basin on this surface at all. And that gradually it started cooling. Why exactly it started cooling? Because this is how the convection currents were moving. This is the way that the convection currents were moving. So because this was the way convection currents were moving here, all of these places, these were the places here, these were the places here, which suffered some amount of melting, and this was the place where some amount of solidification started taking place. Now, as it is that they started solidifying, what it did was that it led to the formation of this first crustal nuclei. These were the places. These were the nuclei. Now, these nuclei were located over. They were located over convection currents. For example, this is how exactly they were located. They were located over these type of convection currents. This is the place where they were located in such a manner. That is how they were located. So ultimately they started colliding. This collided, both of them collided, and the result of this collision was when both of these continental nuclei collided, the result of this collision was the formation of a mountain. As you can go to understand it, that is, if this was going to be the block, and one of these continental nuclei here, another continental nuclei here, both of them collided, they came together, then in between there was formation of a mountain, and ultimately both of them went on to become one. In a similar manner, it was another of this collision that had taken place here, and this also led to formation of a mountain. Mountains are going to be a region of marginal accretion. It is this marginal accretion that unites the continents together. That how exactly it goes on to evolve. So that is evolving the continents. You will understand that it is in this process of evolution that India, peninsular India, collided with Tibet, and in the process of its collision, what it did, it led to the evolution of the Himalayas, and Himalayas have gone to become a welding point for both of these continental nuclei. And you will go on to find that such type of continental nuclei are best exhibited in some place like that of India. India presents a prime example, that is prior to that, Aravallis were the welding point of two continental nuclei. One was the Vindhyan Sea and another was the Rajasthan Khatan. Then you have a Dharwad region, that was the welding point of again two basins in this case. Satpura here has been a welding point of again two different type of basins here. Then the Singhbum region was again a welding point for two different type of continents. In this case, one was on this side, another was on this side, and that is how they started agglomerating and they started coming together. This is the way that they evolved, and of course, first layers in this case are green stones, and on the top of it are going to be granitic layers, which goes on very well with this cycle. So that is how the continental nuclei evolve. Now, having talked about it, that is continental nuclei and continental blocks evolve in that manner. How is it that the ocean basins evolve? Ocean basins evolve when after continents have formed, after any type of a block had formed, any type of a continental block had formed, it undergoes some amount of a rupturing. And this rupturing takes place because of convection currents beneath them. So what it does is that if the convection currents move in such a manner, then it goes on to thin these continental blocks. This is where they go on to get thinned. And why is it that they go on to get thinned in this place? Because of the melting. This is the place where melting takes place, and melting goes on to thin it. Now, a concomitant effect of thinning is going to be that in this case it goes on to get thinned further, and that's how convection current is going to move. A time comes when they go on to get themselves detached. Both of them go on to get detached, and that is how the convection currents will go on to move them. This is the way that the convection currents will go on to move them in two different directions. So it starts moving in this direction, that starts moving in this direction, and then that's the place that becomes a place for ocean basins. That is a place known for ocean basins. So ocean basins developed in such a manner, you will go to find that a similar case has taken place with respect to the whole of Gondwana land, what we're going to be calling it, or that portion of the plate. This is where you're going to find, that is where India was. This was where Sri Lanka and Madagascar also had been. That's where Antarctic had been. This is where Australia was. That's where South America had been. Now all of them are going to be in one block. And they gave way to many continents. And how is it that the continents evolved? There is South America moved towards west, Africa moved towards east, and the intervening place was going to be occupied by a ocean basin called as Atlantic. As India moved fast forward towards the north, then its movement fast forward towards the north was responsible for creation of Indian Ocean in this case. And of course, Indian Ocean was created here as well, in this place as well, Indian Ocean was created. So both of these places, it was Indian Ocean that was created. That is going to be another component associated with it. So ocean basins evolve in such a manner when the continents go to rupture. So basins evolve, not exactly oceans. And how is it that the oceans ultimately going to evolve? The evolution of the oceans is going to be a different ballgame altogether. That is because oceans evolve when the entire of this block, which has got itself solidified, it was a liquid basaltic region, which has got itself solidified. This is where the solid blocks lie to be. But then there are going to be different type of cracks. These are the cracks that are developed on the first continental blocks, which has got itself solidified. From these cracks, it was from these cracks that a good amount of vapor was excluded, good amount of magma was excluded. So it was lava that was excluded out of it, it was vapor that was excluded out of it. The vapor that came out of it, that condensed. And after this condensation, what happened was that all of this vapor started falling upon to the surface. So some of these blocks, let's say it was going to be a different type of contents and some of these depressed areas of sorts. So when such type of vapor started condensing, all of these low-lying areas got itself filled with water. All of these low-lying areas got themselves filled with water. These were the low-lying areas got themselves filled with water. It was this water that traveled all the way from the continents to the ocean basins and got themselves deposited in that region that led to the evolution of the first ocean basin. And the ocean basins got themselves filled with water. These are the four models. Catastrophic, first is inhomogeneous accretion model, second is the catastrophic model, third is the non-catastrophic model, and the fourth is the model for the evolution of the ocean waters with all of its concomitant salinity that gave rise to water in this region. That was what was the demand of the question.
To have more such discussions and analysis, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon for notifications on our upcoming videos.